charm, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1.
Line drive to the base hit. Just as the score the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Back and throws. There's a long drive. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them away from their faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins. Here's the pitch to Willie.
There's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. This is it back.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a jam. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland. Get in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
I guess it's nobody else jumped up and said good morning to you. I'd better. Welcome to the show. Good morning. How's it going so far on this Tuesday? I'm Dan Scott. That's Forrest Stulting. Very happy to have you with us as we get another edition of the program underway. How are you?
Doing good, Dan. Excited for tonight's game against the Elon Phoenix. Excited to see where they're going to put that championship banner in the rafters. Hopefully it'll be over the court and not tucked away on the backside of the gym. But I guess we'll find out momentarily.
Yeah. So one of the issues with Timmons Arena is that because of the design, it's really difficult to hang banners, and at least hang things prominently. There's a whole stretch of history of Furman basketball on the main wall way in the back at the top behind the home bleachers, and I don't think anybody can really see it or acknowledge it. It doesn't really do it justice, and yet there's not a whole lot of other options.
You're absolutely right about that. Yeah,
which is a shame. But hanging the first regular season championship banner since the early 90s is going to be a big deal tonight, and so's the basketball game. You know, the Bob Jones season opener was a tune-up, if you will, a glorified exhibition, whatever you want to call it, and that's not a knock on Bob Jones. They're a Division II school, and it is what it is. But this Elon team, like Furman, is a top 25 mid-major club, and they return a veteran team with a lot of scores, and they are a team that is going to present a unique challenge because they are very Davidson-esque in what they do and the way that they run their half-court offense. And
I think Bob McCulloch was Matheny was under Bob McCulloch for many years.
Yeah, so if you remember Davidson and Elon from their times in the league, you know what we're talking about from an offensive standpoint. So anyway, it's going to be a fun night. Hopefully there's going to be a huge crowd out at Timmons. We'll be talking about that coming up a little bit later on. And then we'll we just got a lot to get to today, and that's going to be part of it. But as always, we start with the what's going on campus here at Furman to give our all of our programs a little bit of attention, something they do not get anywhere else on a daily basis. So we do that first and then expand into the broader world of sports, which today is going to include some college football and basketball stuff, the FCS polls, which we'll be getting to here shortly, and more talk about Furman basketball, plus a very special on this date that we're going to remember. But let's start with campus.
All right, let's do it. Starting tonight, the men's basketball program will host Elon Phoenix at 7 o'clock. As we said, they'll unveil their 2016-2017 SoCon Championship banner. The cross-country men, they are ranked 7th in the country for the third straight week. That's the highest ever ranking for the men. The women move up one spot to number 11 from 12th. They will compete at the NCAA Championships this weekend, November 18th in Louisville, Kentucky. And then obviously football, they were ranked 20th in the Stats FCS poll, and they finally got in to the coaches poll at 24. And the women's basketball team, they will host Davidson tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
All right, so there's a look at what's going on campus-wide here. Trivia.
All right. Yes, sir, yeah. So tonight we are unveiling the championship banner, and so I figured it'd be a good time to start with some trivia questions about Furman men's basketball. And
so we're going away from football today.
At least for today. How many overall SoCon championships, regular season and tournament, do the Paladins have?
So combined.
Yep.
Regular season and or conference tournaments. How many championships combined does Furman basketball have? Okay.
Men's basketball.
Men's basketball. Yeah. All right, good question. If you have an answer, leave it in your Facebook Live feed, the Twitter Periscope feed, the comment sections in both of those, or you can just simply tweet at Dan Scott Show. When you have your choice at the end, if you get it right, of an attaboy or a pat on the back. We are very generous with both of those here on the program. Normally we do all the on this dates at the end of the show, but I thought this one would be a good way to kind of transition out of the opening segment. I think most everybody knows that I am a native West Virginian, lived the first 23 years of my life there before we started our jaunt around the eastern seaboard with my wife being in retail and me being in media. Then that had both of us on the run quite a bit, as you might imagine. But I'm a West Virginia native and actually spent a semester, one whole semester, Forrest, at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia, back in the fall of 1985. I was a preacher's kid, turned loose in the world for the first time. Not proud of that all these years later. The reason I lasted for a semester, and I'll just let you read into that what you want. I think you can probably figure it out. But I'm a proud West Virginian, and this is a day that, whether you're a Mountaineer fan or whether you're a Thundering Herd fan, for one day in the state of West Virginia and West Virginians all across the country, they all fly under the banner of We Are Marshall. This is the 47th anniversary of the plane crash that took 75 lives, including the entire Marshall football team, on November 14th, 1970. Coming back from their final game of the regular season at East Carolina on that Saturday afternoon, chartered a plane. It was their only flight of the season, and approaching the airport in Huntington, slammed into the side of a mountain and killed everybody on board. As we go out to break, this video, which was done 2 years ago, you'll hear the audio of it, will reference the 45th anniversary, but this is anniversary number 47, and we'll let this 90-second video, the audio of it, take us out to the break in remembrance of what happened 47 years ago today.
There are no markers in the sky, no graves in the air, but like memory, they are always there, around this place, inside its people. November 14th, 1970. After a game against East Carolina, the Marshall football team boarded a flight back home to West Virginia. Southern Airways Charter Flight 932 left with 75 souls aboard, including 37 players, 8 coaches, and 25 boosters. They never arrived.
Good evening. A charter jet carrying the Marshall University football team home to West Virginia crashed as it tried to land.
A DC-9 Southern Airways plane carrying Marshall University's football team, routers, and crew crashed and burned, that according to state police and the FAA.
The accident is the deadliest sports-related tragedy in American history. In the ashes and aftermath, Marshall made a choice: to endure. And for 45 autumns since, on bright fields and loud Saturdays, that's what the Herd has done. Persevere, prevail, play. The memory is always there, in loss and sorrow, in victory and tribute. For all who love this sport, they are us, we are them, we are Marshall.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864 664-282-9097. Give it CPR today.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show. All right, welcome back to the show. Dan Scott, Forrest Stulting, and good to have you with us. Just one more thought on that Marshall University video that we shared, today being the 47th anniversary of the plane crash. The one semester that I was there at Marshall in 1985 was the first winning season they had since the plane crash.
Wow.
Stan Parrish was the head coach. Quarterback was a guy named Carl Foder, and Parrish earned the nickname Air Parrish because they were throwing it all over the place, and his success at Marshall actually led to Kansas State hiring him to come in and try to rebuild their program, which had been a laughingstock for years and years and years. And Parrish couldn't quite get it done, and then shortly thereafter they hired a guy named Bill Snyder.
He did all right over there down in Kansas State. My goodness,
and has done okay again.
Yes, sir. Yeah, in his second run. Yep.
So just a little history, a little connection there. But I was actually there the semester that they had their first winning season. So since the plane crash. Anyway, I do need to tell you just very quickly about the Atlanta Bread Company since we didn't do it going out, but. Had breakfast there again this morning, as I usually do. The food was fantastic. One of the things I don't talk about, and that I should, are these huge chocolate mocha muffins.
Oh, yes.
I don't even have the camera on. They got the graphic on. But the things are fantastic. So, have a little breakfast sandwich, a little muffin, a little coffee to go along with it. And it's just a great start to the day. Again, the people are fantastic. Hope you'll go by and see them at Cherrydale Plaza. When you do, tell them that you heard about them here on the show. All right, let's talk some, I'm assuming, FCS polls, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so the Paladins, they broke through in the coaches' poll number 24. Outside of the top 8, well, nothing changed in the top 8. You have James Madison, all 26 first-place votes, Jacksonville State, Central Arkansas, Sam Houston State, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, North Carolina A&T, and Wofford at the top 8. And then you have Weber State and Western Illinois to round out the top 10. Elon, they fell from 9 to 15 in the coaches' poll. And Furman was the only team that was not ranked last week to get into the coaches' poll this week. So congrats to them for doing that. Moving over to the Stats FCS poll, everything looks pretty similar over there as well. James Madison garnered all first-place votes. Jacksonville State, Central Arkansas, North Dakota State, Sam Houston State, South Dakota State, Wofford, North Carolina A&T, Western Illinois, and Stony Brook round out the top 10. Elon fell from 7 to 11. There are 3 teams in this FCS stats poll that have 6 wins, and one's Eastern Washington. They will play 0-10 Portland State this weekend. Illinois State has 6 wins, but they will play North Dakota State this weekend, and so I think that might cut them out of the playoff push. And then Northern Iowa plays 0-10 Indiana State this weekend, so they will have a chance to get that 7th win of the year. In the Southland, they have 5 teams in the top 25, and the Missouri Valley has 5 as well. So those two conferences are really showing out big this week in the polls.
Well, and another thing you have to take into consideration when you're talking about the field and who's going to get in, North Carolina A&T, and I'm looking at the FCS stats poll, North Carolina A&T at number 9, Grambling State at number 13. They will not be going to the playoffs because they have I believe they have their own thing with the bowl game. Grambling has played in a number of times. So I don't believe either of those teams will be going into the FCS playoffs. So that's going to open
really
up.
Good point. Yeah,
that's going to open up 2 other spots.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll see what happens. I was looking at one of the projections, and this would be interesting if this happened. One of the projections has Furman in and playing a first-round game at Elon.
At Elon?
Yes.
For a first-round game? Wow.
For a first-round game. And then the winner of that game going to Central Arkansas for a second-round matchup. Now, again, this is nothing but strictly conjecture.
Sure.
I'd like to think that if the Paladins win Saturday at Samford, that they're going to get a home game.
Yeah, I would think so too, but I guess all depends on the bids, right, for the first round. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's strictly cash.
So, yeah, I think getting a home game, especially if you win 8 in a row, would just get more fans to the stadium and more buzz around the program. So I think it'd be extremely important for us to host a home game if you do go down to Samford and beat the Bulldogs for our 8th straight victory.
Yeah. A lot of things going in Furman's favor right now, from being a hot team, which I think the committee likes, from the quality of wins, the number of blowout wins, 6 wins by 21 or more points, 3 of those on the road.
That's huge.
Yeah, pretty significant stuff. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But hey, it took a while, but the coaches finally recognized.
Yeah, I was glad to see that.
And blasted Furman in all the way at number 24.
Taking a look at the Massey poll, we're ranked 17th, and in the Sagarin, we are ranked 13th. So that's pretty good stuff right there for the Paladins as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think Sagarin actually has us like number 104 overall.
Oh yeah, I think remember you saying that. So.
And you've got a football team that's number 104 overall. You got a basketball team that preseason is inside the top 100 of the Sagarin rankings. So things are going pretty well.
You got that
in
right.
this athletic department.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
they're pushing all the right buttons, and this the buzz is getting louder and louder come each week of each program essentially.
Yeah.
So not only football but basketball as well, and all across the spectrum.
I don't think there's any real surprises in the stats poll. Samford is still ranked 16th. Elon is 7th. Wofford is 8th. Everything else is about where it should be, except maybe Western Carolina. Or has this been updated yet? Oh, this hasn't been updated. The one that I'm looking at here still has November the 6th on it. So.
The one I have it over here. Wofford is 7th.
Yeah, because Elon lost.
Yep.
Okay.
Elon is 11th in this one.
Okay.
Samford is 17th. Furman's 20th. Kennesaw State is 22.
Yeah.
And Nichols rounds out the top 25.
And Western
25.
Carolina is not in there.
No.
So okay, I wonder how come I'm on the NCAA site and the one that popped up was the one from last week. So go figure.
Yeah, and this week's they garnered 70 points overall, so they're still on the edge, I guess I would say, looking into the top 25.
Just keep winning.
Yep.
If the Massies and the Sagarin have you between 13 and 17, you're in pretty good shape. So just keep winning.
And we're ranked as high as we're ranked 5th in the Hensley poll now. That's our highest ranking. In other polls, 9th in the Kirkpatrick index. So. We're just scattered throughout the top 25.
Could we start our own poll here?
There you go.
And be
we'll be number one
and be factored into that. I mean, where do all these polls come from?
That's a good question.
And how do you get to be a poll that gets factored in to the masses? And
we're 6th in the England poll, so if that has any validation, I guess.
Well, the Furman advantage takes you international.
There you go. I like that.
So,
way to work that in. Well done.
I do what I can. You know what? Again, as we've been saying the last couple of weeks, all this stuff is nice to talk about and good fodder for the fans. Just keep winning, as Clay Hendricks said as far back as 3 or 4 weeks ago. You've got your own destiny in your hands. All you got to do is win, and everything else will take care of itself. You win Saturday, you clinch a share of the conference championship, which would have been unfathomable, really.
Yeah.
Before this season started. Wofford gets the auto bid, but you're going to be in. And I keep referencing what Brett Harker said on that Sunday of the Southern Conference Baseball Tournament Championship. All I want is a chip and a chair. And I want to be at the table when they deal the cards, and I'll take my chances.
Yeah, you got that right.
And you get into the playoffs, and you got a chip and a chair. The question is going to be, again, with a win on Saturday, if that happens, will the resume combined with the bid be enough to get Furman its first home game since the 2005 season, first home playoff game? Or will we start on the road? You remember 2013, we started at South Carolina State, won there, and then played a second-round game at North Dakota State. So, you play a first-round game at home. There's no possibility of playing a second-round game at home because you would be going to one of the top 8 seeds in the second round. But at least to get that one home playoff game would be an even greater accomplishment. Getting to the playoffs is going to be an accomplishment that I think people were only dreaming of when this season started. And now the reality is we're right there on the edge of it. And then to add the possibility of a home playoff game on top of it, should that happen, it's no guarantee, but should that happen, that would be phenomenal. That would be a reminder to a lot of people around here that this football program, once upon a time, not too long ago, really, was very, very relevant and a player on the national scene, and the intent is to get back there, and it looks like it might be happening sooner rather than later.
Oh, I think so. I think all the momentum that the Paladins have right now and the quality wins, as you mentioned earlier, Dan, it's going to be hard to leave us out of that 24-team playoff picture come November 19th when they announce the bracket.
Yeah, I would agree. Anything else on the polls?
I think we got all the highlights, I believe, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I'm just, like I say, let's go win Saturday and see what happens.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we've got to drive all that way to Birmingham. We might as well win while we're there.
You got that right. Be a lot better.
Yeah, and then go eat some good barbecue while we're
doing looking forward to that for sure.
Matter of fact, David Cobb has already made the statement that we're going to this particular place that we go down there, that we're likely going before the game and after the game, once on the Furman IMG ticket and once on the David Cobb ticket. So.
I'm okay with both tickets right there. You can sign me up for those rides.
I hear you. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with things 2 and 3 and continue here on this edition of the program. Dan Scott Show returns in just a moment.
Stuck in a state of falling behind? Struggling to keep up with your kids, finances, insurance? Then let State Farm agent Steve Borkland in Traveler's Rest help you simplify and get to a better state. Because with Steve handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time for everything else. More money, too, because adding State Farm policies could mean earning discounts worth up to 40%. That's money Steve can help you put towards a college savings plan. Call State Farm agent Steve Borkland today and get to a better state with State Farm.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. All right, welcome back to the show on this Tuesday edition of the program at 10:28 on kind of an overcast day here in the upstate. Dan Scott, Forrest Stulting. Hope that you're having a good day so far. And we move on to thing two in Forrest Three Things, a little off-season baseball talk, right?
Absolutely. So last night, Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger were named unanimous Rookies of the Year for the AL and the NL respectively by the Baseball Writers Association. This is the fourth time that both rookies were unanimous. Happened in 1987. Benty Santiago, Mark McGwire. In 1993, Mike Piazza and Tim Salmon. That's a good year if you're a food fan. Piazza and salmon.
I don't like salmon on my Piazza. So.
And then in 1997, Scott Rowland and Nomar Garcia-Parra both were unanimous Rookies of the Year. They are the 22nd and 23rd unanimous Rookies of the Year as well. And it's the Dodgers' 18th Rookie of the Year and the Yanks' 9th. It's the first Dodger to win it since last year, Corey Seager, and the first Yankees winner since 1996 when a young Derek Jeter took the crown for the Yankees.
Still hard to fathom that in the June draft a couple of years prior to that, the Reds took Chad Mottola instead of Derek Jeter.
They're like one spot ahead of the Yankees, right? Or is it two?
One or two, yeah. I think they were one. They had a shot at Jeter, and they took Chad Mottola instead, the legendary Chad Mottola.
Exactly.
Which the thing that he'll be most remembered for is that he was chosen instead of Derek Jeter. So.
And ended up being a bust, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But anyway.
Yeah, you surprised with any of these Rookies of the Year?
Not really.
Yeah, I think this was one of the easier ones in recent history. Both these rookies really just truly dominated both the leagues, not only from a rookie standpoint, but from also MVP standpoint, as Judge will be second or third in the voting in the MVP, and Bellinger is probably going to be in the top 7 or 8 in the National League as well once all the vote tallies come out.
Yeah, so tonight it's the managers of the year that will be announced as the awards continue to build towards the league MVPs by the time we're all said and done.
Mm-hmm. Other baseball news, the Atlanta Braves named Alex Anthopoulos as general manager. He's a former Blue Jays manager from 2009 to 2016. And this is after John Capalella was fired after breaching rule violations in the Dominican and international signing free agents. So this is good news for the Braves that they're able to get a general manager before things start to really roll with the free agent market.
Yeah, he's been high-ranking Dodger official for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
After leaving the GM post in Toronto. This investigation with the Braves is still going on. And what they're hoping is that this is a guy who's going to give them some clear direction to process whatever happens, get through it, and move the organization forward.
Mhm.
Major League Baseball is still investigating this thing that got Capalella fired, so they're not done with the Braves by a long shot yet. But I think this is a good hire, and people know me, I'm no Braves fan. But I think this is going to end up being a good hire for them.
Mhm.
And
I think so.
And then I also read yesterday that he won't have the title of basically the chief executive in charge of baseball operations, but that will be included in his in his duties.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so, because they have not hired one. I believe John Hart will be stepping down from that duty of baseball operations. I think it's just kind of good to get all new, fresh faces in that organization right now that dealt with signing of free agents and bringing up young players through that system to kind of wash the hands clean, if you will.
Yeah.
And
All right.
lastly, Carlos Beltran, he announced his retirement after 20 years in the major leagues. He had a fantastic career, 2,700 hits, 435 home runs, 1,500 RBIs, 312 stolen bases. I believe he's only one of 4 players to have over 400 home runs and over 300 stolen bases. So he's going to be, for me at least, a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that, Dan?
I think we will see him there. You may take 2 or 3 ballots to get him there, but I think we will. He didn't hit any of those quote unquote magic automatic numbers of 3,000 hits or 500 home runs, but when you put together 2,700 hits, 435 home runs, 300 and some odd stolen bases, when you start to look at the total package, and a guy whose career has been going on long enough that he was kind of in the steroid era, stayed more or less above the fray where the steroid era was concerned, transitioned through that. I think we'll see him in the Hall of Fame.
No, I think so. I think his peak from 2004 to 2013 will garner him in the Hall of Fame. He just was All-Star all but 3 of those years. So I think he'll easily get voted into the Hall of Fame. Like you said, maybe not first-year ballot, but I think second or third year on the ballot. And I think he'll be a hot commodity for a managerial position come the next few years as well. He's already being linked with the Yankees job. I'm not sure if he wants to take a year off or get right back into baseball.
Well, and I think whoever's linking him it is in a dream world. They're not going to take somebody who just retired
That's fair.
and put them in charge of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
With no managerial experience. Now, one of the names that's being kicked around for that job is Aaron Boone, who has no managerial experience, but he's been out of the dugout for a long time and has kind of established himself with his broadcasting career and other things. Not only as a guy who knows talent, but he's kind of embraced the analytical side of things. And but they're not going to take a guy who's going to retire for 1 year and from the Astros and put him in the Yankees. So whoever's writing that is an idiot.
I'm not going to go that far, but
well,
I think.
Why, are you the one who wrote it?
Oh, you got me. My anonymity is gone.
Yes.
But also we'll say this: he did play for the Yankees for a couple of years. He's got good relationships with those young players. But I do agree with you, Dan, that they will not want to hire him right out of the gate. There's also being linked to Jerry Harrison Jr., who is not any managerial experience either, but he's been in the broadcast booth as well for the Dodgers, and I think he would be a decent fit for the Yankees as well as John Flair's been linked to it, and David Cohn. So all kinds of non-managers trying to snap this job out of thin air. So
yeah, and what you have to have these days is you have to have someone who and it's really this way in every sport to a certain degree, but it's more and more now someone who played the game at the major league level, Because it used to be that, a guy may have never played in the big leagues, may have been a career minor leaguer, but he went into the organization and coached, and he started managing at the single A level and worked his way up, and then ultimately, would get a shot at managing the big league club, especially if it were a young team and he had managed those guys in the minor leagues, which is kind of what you saw a little bit with Brian Snitker.
Oh, yeah.
With the Braves, who didn't have in any major league managing experience prior to this, but now more than any other era, the players seem to be in this mindset of it's going to be hard for us to respect you if you did not play at the major league level, and that didn't used to be the case.
Yep.
So I think that's why you see a lot of guys, names being mentioned who don't have any managerial experience, but played the game at a very high level. I mean, there's this idea in Cincinnati, for instance, that someday Barry Larkin is going to come back and manage the Reds. Has never managed at any level.
Yeah.
So far has not shown any inclination to want to manage at any level. Does work with the organization in various capacities.
Okay.
But there's this belief among fans anyway that someday he's going to come back and manage the Reds. He would be obviously welcome in the clubhouse because he commands that respect. But is he a good manager?
Whole different ballgame right there.
Aaron Boone would be welcome in the clubhouse because he's got the respect of being a former Yankee, a former big leaguer for a number of years. But is he a good manager?
I would say no, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, if you've never managed before, you don't know.
Exactly, yeah. I just can't see him doing well in that managerial spot, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the evolution of the managers take hold over the next few years, with the analytics being the driving horse and driving force behind all this these changes.
These things are cyclical.
You're right.
And right now, analytics is the big thing until one team, one organization, sometime in the future, goes back to the quote-unquote old school mentality, and they start pumping out winners, and then that will become the hot thing again. And so, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And Bob Ritchie is deep into the analytics in basketball. A lot of coaches are going that way.
Oh yeah,
basketball-wise now, and I don't see any problem with that. What I see the problem with is that if that's what you're totally basing all of your decision making on.
Yes.
But both off-season and in-game. Because I think there's a place for it. I think that you use every tool that's available to you. But analytics can only take you so far. They can't tell you how a player is feeling. Analytics don't have eyes to see what's actually transpiring on the field at the moment. So, they're just – you can't put all of your eggs in one basket, and I've used this reference a number of times, and I think it's true. Billy Beane became a baseball genius because of his sabermetrics approach, but it's just always odd to me, and nobody else that I know of talks about this, and maybe I'm the oddball, but it's just funny to me that he became a genius when he had Mark Mulder, Barry Zito, and Tim Hudson in the top three of his pitching rotation for that period of time.
Yeah.
The rise coincided with those three guys being in his rotation.
I would say that is not a surprise to me.
So, anyway.
Or not a coincidence either. But I will say this, Dan. I think it's going to be interesting to see how much analytics attaches itself to the old school form of baseball, and how much when the inevitable will happen, that's going to turn back to more the old school way, how much of that analytical side will be paired with the old school way.
I think the smart teams, the smart organizations will realize that you have to have both.
Oh, absolutely.
You still have to have good scouting. You have to have people who know how to play the game, how to teach the game fundamentally, and then you also have to be able to take all of this data that's available to you and have someone or multiple someones in your organization who can break it down and give you what you need to help you make decisions, whether it's signing players or whether it's making lineups or whether it is who to pinch hit late in a ball game, those kind of things. The two have to work together.
Absolutely.
You can't just be solely analytical. And I think there was all this talk about the Dodgers this, Dodgers that, and when they pulled Rich Hill after 4 innings in Game 2 of the World Series, and the excuse was made, and Joe Buck, John Smoltz, they talked about it. Now John Smoltz was losing his mind.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you taking him out?
Yep.
And Joe Buck, well, this is what they did all year long. They're probably use analytics more than any organization in baseball. This is what they did all year long. Well, you can get away with an 162-game season if you have a super talented team like they did, because you're going to win an inordinate amount of games against inferior competition, basically regardless of what you throw out there. The old baseball adage is you're going to win a third of your games, you're going to lose a third of your games. It's what you do with the other third of the games. Over the course of 162 games, the analytical thing, sure, it has a place, it works, and maybe you get away with pulling Rich Hill after he's faced a lineup twice as opposed to letting him go a third time. You get into a short series sometimes, and as we saw with Houston, sometimes you just have to gamble and ride the hot hand.
And it works. And I'll say this too, Dan, is that you have to remember that the regular season compared to the postseason is two totally different types of baseball.
Yeah.
Everything is heightened. Players are taking more fine-tuned notes about what they do at every single pitch. They're just more locked in.
Well, not only that, but how many guys in the bullpens of the two teams never pitched in the World Series, or maybe may have made one very brief appearance. I mean, in a 7-game World Series, you as we saw, starters are going into the bullpen, and they are using only their top 5. So they're throwing most of that analytical stuff out the window, and they're bringing starters back on short rest, or a guy who started a game 2 days later is coming and throwing an inning or 3 out of the bullpen. So you can't manage the postseason the same way you manage the regular season.
No, you're absolutely right. I think Billy Beane said that. I said this before. That he said that this analytical and sabermetrics does not work in the playoffs. It works for a long season, but when you're down in that condensed two or three or four series, it's not going to work in your favor every single time because things are different. It's just not managed the same way, and it's just a completely different beast.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Somehow we went from Carlos Beltran into this whole discussion, so I don't know how that worked.
That's baseball for you.
Yep. What else we got?
Thing 3, Butch Jones was fired by Tennessee on Sunday. Not completely a shock to the football world.
I think the biggest shock is that it took this long to happen.
That's fair, too. And this is still a highly coveted position, so I think there's going to be a lot of people throwing their name in the hat, essentially, for this job. And rumors are that John Gruden, who was a graduate assistant from 1986 to 1987 for the Volunteers, is linked to the job. And is he a good candidate, Dan? Or who else?
I think
who would be a good candidate?
If he wanted to coach, he would be a good candidate. But everything that I've seen and read, over the past years, there have been a lot of people make overtures to him, and he seems to be very happy in the booth. Does he want to step out and get back into coaching and do it at the collegiate level as opposed to the NFL level? I don't know. It's going to be intriguing to see what happens. How far that Tennessee program has fallen is shocking. It really is shocking. If you think back to the very first BCS championship, they won the national championship that year with T. Martin at quarterback the year after Peyton Manning graduated. And as long as Philip Fulmer was there, they were a super competitive team in the SEC East, which was at that time the strongest of the two divisions. Now that script has flipped, obviously, with Alabama over the last 7, 8, 9 years.
Auburn as well.
Yeah, but with Alabama leading that charge, it's been more about the SEC West. I don't know who you link to this job. I know this. They're paying Butch Jones over $200,000 a month for the next 40 months.
Whew. Wow.
Where can I sign up to be fired as somebody's next college football coach?
I'm not sure where you
wouldn't even have to pay me $200,000 a month to do it. I mean, we can negotiate a much more team-friendly firing scenario than that. I think it's like $203,000 or $200 and some odd $1,000 for 40 months. They owe this guy.
That is an outstanding amount of money to fire a coach and not have him do anything for you besides just get out of the way. And so,
yeah, and then I also saw this morning that there's a concern that his personality is such that they believe that he will try and torpedo the recruiting class that they have signed. They have coming in.
They've already lost 4 recruits.
Yeah.
4 5-star recruits.
Whether he had anything to do with that or not, who knows? But I mean, it's been a long time for Tennessee from a relevancy standpoint, and whoever they get, they better take careful consideration in making this hire because they cannot afford to miss again.
No. I mean, I think this is going to be very important for Tennessee moving forward. They have the second most SEC championships behind Alabama in the SEC. So I think this is going to be a very important step in their future because they've been down for the past 10, 15 years probably, you would say. And so I think there's going to be a lot of folks wanting to get a Rocky Top back on top in Tennessee.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out, but Butch Jones is going to get paid a lot of money to do nothing over the next 40 months. Now, that changes if he gets hired somewhere. Then I think the payments change with the differential in the salary, or if he were to get, which is next to impossible, but get a job that paid him the same amount of money, then Tennessee would be off the hook for what they owed him. But yeah, $200 and some odd $1,000
a month,
not to coach, a month for the next 40 months,
gracious.
Next 3.5 years.
Yikes!
I'm in.
If I'm Butch Jones, I ain't doing nothing.
Sign me up. Sign me up right now. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and put a wrap on things by previewing Furman and Elon tonight. Maybe a little bit more about the Samford game this weekend, some other college football stuff, whatever we can get in the last 7 or 8 minutes, plus the trivia answer. All that still ahead in the final segment of the show. Don't go away.
Hey, Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget the gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
So you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culber, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. Hi, welcome back to the show. Good to have you along with us as we continue here on this Tuesday edition. Going to set to wrap things up here in just a bit. Tonight at Timmons Arena, Game 2 of the 2017-18 basketball season for Bob Ritchie's Paladins after the 101-48 win over Bob Jones University in the, we'll call it a tune-up of an opener. But tonight gets a little more intense as a fellow mid-major top 25 program visits. Former SoCon member Elon will be here, and this will be a chance for a nice early season win, non-conference win for Bob Ritchie's club. 7 o'clock tonight. It'll be an ESPN3 broadcast with Bryant Lambert joining me there. And the audio will be simulcast on our flagship station, Fox Sports 1440. Looking forward to seeing a couple of veteran teams going at it in what should be just a dandy matchup here early this season.
Well, it's going to be great. Two players look for the Phoenix is senior guard Dimitri Thompson. He's 6'4". In the first 2 games, he's averaged 13.5 points. And down low, Tyler Sebring, a junior who's 6'8", averages 13 points a game in the first 2 games of the season. Both those players can hit it from 3 points, and all players 1 to 5 can hit it from 3-point range. So I'm not sure if we're going to do the same thing Duke did, but Duke, they switched a lot of ball screens. So I'm going to be interested to see if we do a lot of switching on ball screens up top with the big man and see how we defend that 3-point shot from the Phoenix tonight.
Yeah, they opened up with a 96-53 win over William Peace, and then lost 97-68 at Duke. A team that's returning all 5 starters from an 18-14 squad. A year ago, they're picked 3rd preseason in the Colonial Athletic Association. So, again, good club, also in the mid-major top 25. As is Furman. So this is a fun early season matchup here at Timmons Arena. Going to be a good early test for the Paladins. And then on top of everything else, in pregame, shortly before the opening tip, they'll be unveiling the banner for last season's regular season championship. Paladins won a share of it, so it'll be the first banner hung for a regular season championship or a championship of any kind since the early 90s.
I believe 1990.
So that's going to be a big moment for this program as well. So all that'll take place at Timmons Arena. Tickets are available. Get them at FurmanPaladins.com, and let's have a great crowd out there tonight. Had almost 1,700 for the opener against Division II Bob Jones. That we need to pack the place tonight. Students need to be there in force, and I think they've got some special things
a tailgate
going on for the students, a tailgate, quote-unquote, actually inside the facility. So come take advantage of it, be loud, be rowdy, and let's have a great atmosphere tonight.
Let's do it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully the Pals get their second win in as many games.
And as you were saying, there are some other pretty decent matchups tonight.
Yeah, tonight you have number 1 Duke going up against number 2 Michigan State, and number 7 Kentucky going up against number 4 Kansas. That'll be at Madison Square Garden in New York. So it'll be at the 2 battles of two heavyweight champions, essentially.
Both those games are at Madison Square?
Yep, one after the other. So it's the State Farm Champions Classic. They have this every year, I believe, starting 5-6 years ago. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those 2 games after you get back from Timmons Arena tonight after a big Furman win, hopefully.
Yeah, it should be fun. We'll maybe have some time to check that out. My focus is this one. And,
absolutely.
And if I have anything emotionally left to watch any basketball after that, it's fine. I've always kind of been that way. When I do a show like this, even though it's only an hour as opposed to the old 3-hour show, the last thing I want to do when I'm done is listen to more sports talk.
Sure.
When I was in the newspaper business, especially you're working in smaller papers like I did for the majority of my career, where maybe you're a 1 or a 2 person, or if you're lucky, even a 3-person sports department, but still you come in at 1 o'clock in the day and you're there until 1 o'clock in the morning doing everything it takes to get the paper ready. You have to wait until the paper comes off the press to make sure it's okay. Last thing in the world I wanted to do was read a newspaper. I broadcast a game. I generally don't want to go home and watch more games. Now, that's a little different from a football standpoint.
That's fair.
But basketball-wise, it's usually the case. But we'll see what happens.
I know for me, I'll probably watch both those games tonight on replay. I'm a huge college basketball fan, so I'll be glued to the tube till about 1 or 2 in the morning tonight watching both those games commence.
What else we got?
On this date,
Yeah.
1946, Ted Williams wins his first MVP. In 1941, he batted .406 and did not win the MVP somehow. So,
I can tell you exactly why he didn't win the MVP in 1941.
Writers didn't like him?
Because 2 writers left him completely off their ballots
Yeah.
because of his feud with the Boston Press. Had he even been listed as number 10 on those ballots, he would have beaten Joe DiMaggio. Of course, that was also the year that DiMaggio had the 56-game hitting streak, but hitting .406. And the way he did it on the last day of the season, his average was 3.998 going into a doubleheader at the end of the year, and so it would have been rounded up to an even 400. And he was told, "Hey, you don't have to play. Well, you can sit out, and you'll have your 400." And he said, "No." He said, "If I'm going to get it, I'm going to earn it." He went 6 for 8 in the doubleheader. But because of his what was basically a career-long feud with the press, 2 writers in Boston intentionally left him completely off their ballot. And as I said, if he had been even listed as number 10 on a 10-person ballot, he would have won the MVP that year.
That's a shame. In 2001, Lou Piniella wins the AL Coach of the Year after guiding the Mariners to 116 wins. That's tied for the most with the 1906 Chicago Cubbies. Non-baseball on this date. In 1993, Don Shula becomes the winningest coach in NFL history.
And has, at least used to, I guess he still has, a pretty good steakhouse down there in Miami.
I'm not sure about that. I've not been to Miami before.
Yeah,
so.
You've never been to Miami?
I've been to Orlando, but not Miami. Haven't gone down that far.
Never taken the tour of South Beach.
Not yet.
Yeah,
not
it's
yet.
an interesting place.
I'm sure.
In more ways than one.
I guess it's probably kind of like Venice Beach out in California.
Yeah, but with more of I'd say a Latin flavor.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
I like a little spice.
Among other things.
Yeah.
Again, among other things.
There you
go. Trivia?
Yes, sir. Question, or the topic is Furman men's basketball. The question is, how many overall SoCon championships, regular season and tournament, do the Paladins have? Any guesses there, Dan?
9.
Close. 11.
There you go.
5 regular season and 6 tournament champions.
And the tournaments are the big ones.
Yes, sir.
That's what gets you to the dance.
Oh, yeah. Put on those golden shoes and start twirling.
Yep. There you go. That is going to wrap things up for us on the program today. We thank you so much for your kind attention. Again, get out to Timmons Arena tonight if you can and support this Furman basketball team in what should be an excellent game against Elon. Should be a fun one. Looking forward to calling. If you can't make it, check it out on ESPN3 and or Fox Sports 1440. The simulcast will be there starting at 7 o'clock. The radio pregame show will start at 6:30. Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
We will see you back here tomorrow, same time and same place. Until then, for Forrest, I'm Dan. God bless you, and so long, everybody.